Every one of us is tasked with bringing the world to perfection. This week's Parsha reveals a secret to help us do just that. Dreams played a central role in the last several Parashot, and Parashah Mikeitz continues the theme. Pharaoh has a dream, and none of his wise men can interpret it. We all know the dream. 7 fat cows on the banks of the Nile, 7 skinny cows show up and devour the fat cows. Dream interpretation is not always easy, but this one doesn't seem so complicated to understand. Why are none of the wise men of Egypt able to see that the dream meant that there would be 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine? The Lubavitcher Rebbe has a wonderful insight. He says there's one wrinkle to the dream, and it complicates the interpretation. In the dream, the 7 ugly lean cows emerged from the Nile and stood next to the cows already on the riverbank. If the 7 emaciated cows symbolize 7 years of famine following 7 years of plenty, why were both sets of cows standing together on the bank of the Nile? How do you have plenty and famine at the same time? That is what confused the Egyptian wise men. But when Yosef was called to interpret the dream, he understood that the 2 types of cows existing at the same time meant that during the years of plenty, the people would need to live like they were in the years of famine. When times are good, don't feast and waste the food. Live carefully and save so that you're ready for the years of famine that will soon follow. There's of course a critical lesson in this for economic planning at the personal and the communal level. When times are good, when your business is booming, when your synagogue is seeing record levels of membership and donations, we are tempted to live large, thinking things will always continue that way. But at some point, the lean cows show up, and we need to be ready. This was a standard practice for many generations, but a lesson that recent generations may need to be reminded of. But I don't want to talk about economics. The same idea applies to our spiritual and our emotional well-being. We have times when we see our spiritual connection to Hashem in everything, and times when that feeling is concealed. There are times when we're emotionally supercharged and times when we're running on empty. The key is that when things are going well, we need to use some of that excess spiritual energy to recharge our batteries and save it for when we're in a lull. I'm privileged to be in Israel this week. In addition to visiting my son and spending Hanukkah in the place where those miracles occurred, I'm getting to spend time in my happy place. Kabbalat Shabbat at the Western Wall is where I recharge my batteries. Show up just after candlelighting time. See the sea of people welcoming Shabbat. Find a minyan, but not just any minyan. You need the right one. For me, the right one is one with lots of singing, lots of banging on the table, dancing, and jumping together, and one where the nine continue on and on and on after each psalm, and just when you think they're done, they begin up again. That energy, that love, that feeling of people who never met from all corners of the world coming together in joy to welcome Shabbat. That is what fills my batteries and powers all of my Kabbalat Shabbatot until my next visit. But that's not the only battery I get to refill while I'm in Israel. Chaverim, my friends, the past 15 plus months have drained many of our spiritual and emotional batteries. So many of us are running on empty. That every day the hostages are still held in Gaza, our batteries drain a little bit. Every time we hear of one of our brothers and sisters killed defending our people, our emotional energy is sapped. Every time we read of a shooting at a Jewish institution, hate speech at a protest, police and governments are standing on the sidelines while these things happen. It's a drain on our energies. We need to recharge. We need to find a power source to plug back into. Hanukkah is that power source we can plug into this week. The Hanukkah story is a battle against anti-Semitism. It's a battle for Jewish self-determination. It's a battle to allow us to be proudly Jewish in the face of a world who would prefer we not be. It's a holiday keenly relevant in today's world, and one we can take strength from. So this week, each day of Hanukkah, light the menorah. Don't do it hidden away in your kitchen. Light it proudly for all to see. In a window, a doorway. Go to a public menorah lighting. And when you light the menorah, take a few minutes to look at the candles, feel their warmth, let those flames recharge your batteries. May we see all the hostages come home safely. May we see a complete victory over all those who continue to fight against us. May we see peace in our land, and may the light of the menorah kindle a light in our souls so that we can shine that light forth into the world. That is one thing we can learn from this week's Parsha. How will you step up this week to bring the world a little closer to perfection? Shabbat Shalom, Chag Urim Sameach, and Am Yisroel Chai.